a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the Restricted Section, a pro-trans rights Harry Potter book club, Harry Potter slander book club podcast. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 38. The Second War Begins. It's all coming to an end, just the sad strings of the story wrapping themselves up in this final chapter of Order of the Phoenix.
Way back like a year ago when Tina asked, hey, what chapters do you want to be on for Order of the Phoenix? You're like, Alex, I want you to be on. Are you cool with coming on the chapter right before after Harry loses Sirius dies. It's really depressing, but I'm going to have you and Haley on and we're going to drink a lot. It's going to be great. I'm like, sure, sounds awesome. That's totally the chapter that I read, and I completely forgot that had shifted at some point. And so I read a lot of this book today, and I just
I'm so sorry.
I just gotta say, like, fuck, this thing drags. Like,
yeah.
I'm like skimming. I'm like, all right, like, yeah. Harry like is still super depressed, and like now we talk to Luna. Then we talk to Nearly Headless Nick, and it's like there's a lot of. It's like a Star Trek episode, just a series of different conversations.
Yeah, very disappointing ones.
For this episode, I'm going to just like phase in the audio, perhaps upon the words that were just uttered, okay. You know, like in media res. And so I want us to sync our audio now, and then we can just chit chat into our first shot. And then right after that shot, I'm going to start the episode proper.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's synchronize our audio. I'm going to count to 5. Please join me for 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Oh my God, Alex, for Andrew's birthday, we're giving him the gift. I just decided this today, so it's on my mind. Great. But we're giving him the gift of allowing him to DM a one-shot for the movie night crew.
Wow. That as a DM myself, that is so kind of you, telling somebody.
No. I'll have you know that I asked if he was like, I know you don't want to host parties, so let's think of some activity. I said, I'd be happy to DM a one-shot. I think that would be good practice for me. And he was like, that's a great idea. I actually have a one-shot. I'm in charge now. I'm the captain now.
Oh, well, he took control of his own ship. I'm so happy for him.
I was like, you go right ahead, my dude.
I take Tina at the start of that, when you mentioned Andrew and his birthday, I'm like, okay, this can go a number of ways. And out of the 5 possibilities I can think of in my head, 4 of them involve K-pop, so like.
So this is the
5th. Unless it's a K-pop themed one shot.
And Freya is planning on attending, so it's going to be baby's first D&D session.
Oh my God, that, you know what? Missed opportunity. That's what I should have gotten Freya for her Brooks baby shower, was because they make these little children's books like. My, like, baby's first, like, D&D, and it's like, A is for Aboleth, B is for Bugbear.
That's cute.
I know. So cute.
I love that. Are we ready to do our pre-show shot?
I mean, I'm just giving myself a little pour here. I have no idea. I think it's peach.
It's a teacup.
It's peach brandy, and I'm drinking it out of a fussy little Japanese teacup.
Haley just moved house, so it looks even more than ever like an antique shop behind her.
I will have you know I've unpacked and organized a lot since the last time you saw.
Well, that's exciting that you moved, though. Did you, like, stay in your building, just, like, move, like, a floor? What's going on?
I moved, so it's a property that's still controlled by the same landlord, because I have the one landlord who will be spared in the revolution. Like, I actually love Elliot.
John and I hope to someday perhaps become the second and third landlords that will be spared in the revolution. Just by way of we're going to accidentally have a second house.
Well, how you do that is when something breaks, you try to fix it within 48 hours.
Ailey, look at me. Do you think Sean would love to be a landlord? I think he'd be a great landlord.
Well, honestly, I think
Mr.
Sean and Elliot would
Fix-It.
get along.
Yeah.
So it's a building that's owned by the same guy. It's exactly one block down. Like, one number has changed in my address, and that's all. Like,
so funny.
I'm on the same
Moving her
street.
was very funny.
How much more space do you have?
It's not more space, but it's like better space.
Yeah, like, in terms of
Hey.
the living space, it's about the same, but, like, the kitchen and bathroom are both so much bigger.
They're really not
That's
that
amazing.
much bigger. They're like 5% bigger and
I
like
can
much
fit
nicer.
my stuff in them.
Hey,
Well, that's all that really matters.
storage
is.
is everything.
It
When you
Yeah, the
is.
kitchen is great.
As you get older and you just accumulate like stuff, you realize it's just like we're magnets or a snowball rolling down a hill that just gains mass. Like having storage is literally the best thing that you could have in a house, and that is unfortunately the one thing that's lacking in ours. Is we
Well,
have
luckily you have so many spare rooms to just shove shit
Yeah,
in.
your house is
That's
from
what I do.
your house is from an era when people owned wardrobes.
We don't.
Oh, yeah.
We have one teeny tiny closet downstairs for everyone's jackets and all the pet shit and all of our like bags. But you know what? We do have rooms where you can just, you know what? Forget a closet. Why not just use a spare room?
No, like I told you that your house reminds me of like my old family house. Like it's like that. Like one of the things that we're kind of having to sell people on to sell the house is like, we know there's no closet space. We're aware it predates closet space.
Go to IKEA.
Yeah.
Have you
the vibe of an armoire.
Have you considered a Scandinavian way of life? Upgrade your space.
Have you considered nudity?
I
So
mean,
many less clothes.
A
to deal with.
minimalist decor and uncluttered lifestyle.
All right, everyone, pour your shots.
Mine of choice is gonna be Four Roses bourbon, the best cheap bourbon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I concur. I'm drinking Grey Wolf Craft Distilling's Lobo handcrafted agave spirit. It's tequila.
great.
My mom got me like a sampler, a local liquor sampler for Christmas, and this is the last remaining spirit from St. Michael's, Maryland.
she knows you so well. I've got, I picked this up kind of at random at the ABC store. Paul Mason? There's two S's. Peach Grande Amber Brandy.
Oh, so classy.
Wow, y'all.
I feel
Are you
like this
ready?
is going to be gross. Yes, I
right.
am.
What should we toast to?
To the end of this fucking nightmare.
Well, do you want to do another shot at the end and toast to the end?
Sure.
Sure. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Just do a shot whenever.
Definitely do a shot whenever. How about I want to thank me? No, that joke's getting old.
To Harry Potter, who is now a honorary and literal member of the Dead Dads Club.
Alex, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm totally for cheering to Pod Daddy and the person that makes this all possible, because let's be real. You give yourself enough love,
Okay.
but love from other people, there's never enough of that.
So maybe this one goes out to all the dads: dead dad, not dead dad, and pod daddy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
to that.
Duds.
Cheers. Clink to the
Cheers.
thumbs
Clink.
I'm using my little shutter as it goes down. My Linda Belcher shot glass.
I just used what used to be, these glasses had little mini like tiramisu desserts in them from Costco.
That's what I should have used.
And they're adorable. But damn, I think I poured myself a double on that one. So.
I think mine was a double and a half, so. Oh, God, that's sweet.
Oh, I forgot that I said I was gonna smash cut to the episode after we did our shot.
Oh, shit. Well, then.
What were you gonna say, Alex? That we gotta go to Plan B anyway, so just carry on.
No. So we'll totally cut it. Do your thing.
No, it's too late for that. You can't go back. You can only go forward.
All right, we're not turning this pot around, I guess. Well, my drink of choice then to just keep this buzz like steady chillin' is gonna be Fresca and vodka because I'm such a basic bitch.
Nice. That's good though.
Yeah.
It tastes yummy.
I'm gonna try mixing this peach nonsense with some ginger ale, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds like a good decision.
Yeah.
I'm drinking in addition to my Lobo Agave spirit. I'm drinking Bingo Beer Company, which is a local beer company, Costa Chica, classically crushable amber Mexican lager.
There you go.
It's delicious because I literally was like, I'll be drinking tequila tonight and I need a beer that matches.
I have an
tonally.
emergency beer. I'm keeping it cool in my little koozie here. So when I finish this, then I will end the night on a beer. It's gonna be great.
I feel like we're being like those makeup YouTube girls with our drinks tonight. You know how they like hold it up to the camera and like put their hand behind it and they're like,
yeah, what's that about?
Look at my it's so you can see the product more clearly with their hand behind it.
Is that what it's supposed to do? Okay.
What I've been told.
Product placement.
This has all been product placement today so far. Welcome to the restricted section. I'm literally so fucking glad to be done with this book. I'm your host, Christina. My co-host today gets 50 points to Ravenclaw for telling everyone Voldemort is back. It's Haley. Say hello to the listeners, Haley.
Hello, listeners. I'm Haley, and today you get to learn my tragic backstory.
We've been planning this one for years.
Yes, literally.
And our special guest today, in case you couldn't tell, is our dear, dear friend Alex, she, her, from over on My Cabbages, an Avatar podcast. Have you heard of it? Say hello to the listeners, Alex.
Hello.
Ever since I took that tequila shot, I feel like funnier and more energetic. Like it just, you know what I mean? Tequila
do be that way.
Do be that way. Except for that one time, Haley, that gave me an anxiety attack when I was walking home from the bar.
There was that.
But that has never happened before or since.
You know what? When I turned 21, the first thing I drank legally was a shot of Patron, and you just can never go back from that.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
That's a good
My
move.
mom loves Patron. Oh, my mom and I are tequila bitches for sure. My mom, when I was a kid, would take a tequila shot for her migraines. It was the only thing that helped even a little bit. Now she's on regular meds because science keeps on trucking.
But
for a while, it was just tequila.
Alex, you've been on for many episodes of the restricted section, including Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 14, Snape's Grudge, back in March 2021, before you were on the network. Then you joined the network. Then you came on for The Goblet of Fire, Chapter 16, The Goblet of Fire. That's the name of the chapter, name of the book. In December 2021, you came on for Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 18, Dumbledore's Army, this past December, and now you're back. Thank you, friend, for all your time and energy.
Are you kidding me? It's always a pleasure when I get to chill with my besties and slander away, because you know what? Every single time, like in between episodes where I guest, our wonderful Voldemort, who is also back and rears her ugly head, and it's always keeping us on our toes, and we have to, as Dumbledore's or whatever Christina's army, have to just keep on fighting that good activist fight, and so it's always a time. So here we are. Anytime I get to talk shit, it's gonna be a good time.
Hashtag Ruthless Productions, formerly the Gaily Prophet, you might recognize that name, is circulating a petition signed by a shit ton of fandom creators, including myself. And it's a petition that you too can sign, asking HBO to not produce the new Harry Potter series, say no to platforming transphobia, and just don't fucking do that. So link to that is in the show notes, so please consider signing.
And I'll be honest, as someone who still decorates their house with Harry Potter stuff every Yule, I just can't. Why do we need? Who's asking for this? Who? And besides the shareholders, who is asking for this?
Would have been nice 10, 20 years ago. Now it's too late, man. It's too late.
It's too little too. It's
either
too late.
Yeah,
it's like, stop. stop, and I'm punching them.
It's either too late or, like, way too early. Like,
Yeah,
maybe,
way too early.
Maybe, like, a while after she's dead, we can do, like, an interview with the vampire thing, like...
Like, I want to see it after it enters the public domain and people are seizing upon it.
Yeah.
Like rabid hyenas. Honestly, I think it will be good when she's finally ding dong, the bitch is dead.
Right into the ground, just like everything she touches. Anyway, before we get to the chapter, I did want to take a moment and ask our listeners to please send in questions or theories about Order of the Phoenix, any reflections you have, anything that you'd like us to discuss further for our wrap-up episode. We call them, this is the group therapy episodes. That's going to be me, Brooke, and Haley, hopefully. We haven't recorded it yet. Brooke does have a child now, so hopefully that's the trio we end up with. She says confidently,
we'll be happy with any of our friends.
Well, they might tailor the questions specifically depending on, like, who's there.
Also that.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, send anything you want us to read about Order of the Phoenix. We'll do it. I'll read anything you send me. Just kidding. Time permitting. Are we going to move on to the chapter?
I guess we should do that. Yeah.
You
know, we're taking our sweet time just like Joanne took her sweet time ending this book because, good Lord. This was a belabored, excruciating.
It's like being in quicksand. It really is.
Guys, I just realized, and this is fine because I record Zoom for this reason, but I did just realize that I never started recording locally. And I just think that's very funny in our last episode.
Christina's just so done.
Everything's just so out of order.
If the audio changed just now, you're welcome. I remembered to start recording.
Oh my god, Tina, you sound so much better.
I probably don't because Zoom's gotten pretty good lately, but maybe you can detect. Maybe I'll toggle back and forth between the two at this time so you can detect the minor differences.
Whoa!
Okay, buckle the fuck up. Let's go.
Yeah. We had like a conversation about which chapter to do, like, this conversation. Do
you want to just go? Do you want to just let us have
We're buckled in. Like, we're all going to be talking about daddies. Like, that is the theme. Daddy Darius. We're on, like, you know the John Mulaney bit where we don't have time
none of us. I mean, I was going to go for none of us really know our fathers anyway, but also we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Exactly. Well, guess
like
what?
One of his memes is pointing to the other meme.
We actually do have time today, and we are gonna hashtag unpack that. So, yep. Haley,
yeah,
lay it on us.
So, how long ago did we start this this book, Tina? Was it a little over a year ago?
It was like August.
Yeah. So
let me see. It was indeed August.
Yep. Had the notes fucking ready. So Tina hits me up, and, like, we have this very halting back and forth of, like, hey, do you want to come on for the Dead Dad chapter? Well, do you think it'll be too much of a downer to have me on the Dead Dad chapter? Well, I want you on it if you're comfortable with it. Well, I don't want to bring down the mood, but I am comfortable. Like, it was just the most polite.
We've done this a couple times. I specifically remember... whose birthday was the dad party? was that Sean?
It was Sean. This was, and like, I was
like, Haley, are you like cool with a dad party? Is that, like, gonna be cool for you? And it was a great party.
It was a really good party. I think I should probably back up slightly. My dad is dead. I've kind of...
Oh my god. What, he was their friend, or, like, whatever.
He was their friend!
You're such a Harry right now, and, like, honestly, looking at Haley, she does have, like, round glasses, a shirt that is obviously too big for her, dark brown hair going in all directions, and a confused look on her face. Is that Harry Potter?
I mean, one day I'm going to find the last surviving photo of me with my 11-year-old pixie cut, quote unquote, because
The bowl cut.
it wasn't a bowl cut. I looked like baby Daniel Radcliffe. It was an attempt at a pixie cut, but I already looked too much like a boy in 5th grade to not just look like a boy.
I feel that there was a time in, like, the early aughts when, you know, boys and long hair and the shaggy kind of, like, not quite a bowl cut, but, like, borderline skater
shag.
hair, like, the shag, yeah, started to come back in. But, like, there was, like, a period, like, where that and, like, girls' hair were, like, you know, like, the same, and, like, we could all just coexist in the same
Are you
ecosystem.
talking about Alice and Jasper from Twilight?
I mean, hey, like, are they siblings? Are they romantic partners? What are they?
It's all just on the edge of taboo without really being taboo. Mormon porn.
I was looking at a book reviewer today who was like, I love reviewing romance and erotica, and then she listed a couple kinks, and then she was like, I don't read anything taboo. And I was like, what?
Well, speaking of things that, like, shouldn't exist, Twilight is also supposedly getting a movie reboot. And
there's no way to capture the essence of the original.
I'm just gonna walk away and turn on a couple of lamps and process that information because I'm devastated right now.
She needs more
I
lamps.
don't even care about Twilight. I'm devastated that this is happening.
I mean, I'm thrilled for a Twilight reboot over a Harry Potter reboot. So,
oh God, yeah.
Come on,
Take
let's
it over
do
the
it.
Harry Potter reboot, but we don't need this.
Let's take a horny woman who's kind of a bad writer over a bad person who's also a bad writer.
Like, this was totally Stephanie, like, Meyer's way of just, like, getting herself off. Like, it's like Tina, like, from Bob's Burgers and her, like,
oh my
freaky
God.
friend fiction. Like, this is how it all started. Like, oh, my husband, like, I fake orgasmed, and, like, now I'm just gonna go write about my deepest fantasies in my diary, and it just so happens to involve vampires and a real place that's not a real place, Bend, Oregon. Yeah, and here we are. And
Alex, I'll have to bring you on my mysterious unnamed next podcast project to talk about Twilight.
Oh,
because I think that would be fun.
I am the person that Brooke Matherly will always commonly.
Oh, she's gonna be on that episode.
I'm the person that introduced her to Twilight. So,
and is that how you guys became best friends?
That's our. No, we were friends way before that. But I am Brooke's Twilight origin story.
Aw, that's cute. All right, Haley, you're back. Come on,
I'm
carry
back.
on.
I'm back. Lamps are on.
She has like a plaid jacket and a pipe, like a comforting grandpa.
Yeah. Sitting here in my antique shop of a house. So, yeah. My dad is dead. I've alluded to that, I think, in Podland. I've never said it outright, but I am a card-carrying member of the Dead Dads Club. And it's kind of funny, actually, because
we have a lot of friends with dead dads, actually,
we have,
too.
we have a couple few.
Zach's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad died about, was it 6 months after we met, Tina?
It was soon.
It was a very awkward period. Like, I had just moved to Richmond, and, like, I had just moved into, like, my second apartment in Richmond.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it, like, solidified our best friendship, because me and Brooke were like, we have to go to Haley.
Yeah, like, we had all become very good friends very, very fast, and...
As quippy people do when they are forced to be together all day long.
And they've all just moved to the same city pretty recently, and none of them really know what they're doing with their lives because they're in their mid-20s.
We were all brand new. Yeah, we were all so lost.
Yeah, and then just like out of fucking nowhere, my dad dies. So that was right around the time the movie night crew started like meeting for movie night as well. So it was a big transitional period in my life. So like when we got to this book, honestly, the last couple of books, I started thinking like, oh no, book 5's gonna hurt now, isn't it? Because I hadn't really revisited it since my dad had died. Like, I always had a soft spot for Sirius as a character, but like, it has a new context now.
Yeah.
So I had kind of talked about that a couple of times, and so fast forward a few years, Tina texts me and is like, are you comfortable talking about this at the end of Order of the Phoenix? And
in like a sad, fun, drunk way.
Yeah. Which is right where I live with dead dad jokes. I tell them a lot. No one likes it.
We were telling We were joking on your dad when we were moving your stuff from apartment to apartment last week.
Yeah, it's a testament to how long we've been friends that you're comfortable enough to see me carrying a black velvet bag and ask, what are you carrying here, Dad? And say, oh God, I was about to say it was dildos.
I never got to meet your dad, but I think he would have liked that joke.
He would have never shut the fuck up about that joke, and I'm really glad that if he heard it, he's nowhere that he can reference it.
Yeah, I feel that, Zach also, so my partner, the other half of My Cabbages, his dad passed away in December of 2020. Great year. And there's also his piece of media that we have never been able to revisit is Onward. Because it came out, that fall, I believe. It released on, Disney Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
And, when everyone was freaking out that movie theaters were going to collapse, and they're like, oh no, we're never going to go back to the movies ever again. And now everything just comes out on streaming, which is, kind of great. But yeah, he, that's the, in that movie, spoilers, dad things happen, and we have never been able
Spoilers!
We have never been able to watch that movie together ever since. I just go, and even just as recently the other day I was like, why not watch Onward? And he was like, yeah, no, hashtag too soon. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for me it was around the time fucking the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, with the whole thing with Yondu sacrificing himself, the end of the period when Marvel was still good and fun.
Yeah.
And it's got, the whole thing about, the found family and the dad shit, and, he may not have been perfect, but god damn it, he was there. So, I have trouble with, that movie and, a couple songs, from that movie now, because it was right around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out,
Oof.
and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's feeling great about it.
But I'm totally fine talking about it in the context of Harry Potter, because being a nerd is how I cope with emotions. So here we are.
Everything.
Speaking of found family!
So, did you want to go through the chapter chronologically now and just see what pops up?
Yeah, sure.
Or did you have additional opening points?
I mean, I could give some context on why exactly, my dad is relevant to Sirius Black.
Okay, yeah. Please give us the context.
This isn't just, a random fucking dad. If my dad had nothing in common with Sirius Black, I wouldn't waste your time.
Yeah, my dad, for example, nothing in common with Sirius Black. He's way more of a James Potter type.
Yeah, no.
Which is a different problem.
Sirius Black, despite being British, has the spirit of a guy from Philly, I think. That kind of personality.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever consciously made the comparison before my dad died, but I definitely make it now because holy shit. Here are a few fun random details about my dad. This was a man who could tell you the exact make and model of the car he was conceived in the back seat of, and could not be prevented from telling you that, no matter how much you screamed at him to stop ruining Back to the Future. It wasn't the DeLorean, by the way. He was born...
Well, that would be, that would be extraordinary.
It would be extraordinary, but no, he was born in 1959, just like one Sirius Black. Interesting fun fact.
My dad was also born in 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dad is young.
Yeah, no, Dad was getting up there for a 90s dad when I was born. His mom came from, one of those old money families that lost everything in the Depression, but, never quite forgot that, we used to have standing.
They lost everything except their attitude.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 generations on, they still hadn't quite gotten rid of it, but, Dad was a fucking delinquent.
You can take the person out of the depression, but you can't take the depression out of the person.
Exactly. So he, would run around with his little, his mom was, 16 and a hippie when he was born, so he just, started smoking weed when he was 12. It didn't stop till he was in his mid-20s. As, like, a kid, he would run around with his group of dumb little friends with Stephen King names like Dinky Treadway and the Hendricks Brothers. I shit you not, these are real people. Dinky Treadway and the Hendricks Brothers, they all belonged to the Red Mill Swamp Rats.
What is that, the Outsiders?
It sounds like it, doesn't it? The Red Mill Swamp Rats was the name of their gang when they were 12. They had jackets with a logo.
How did they get jackets?
They got jackets and drew a logo. It was a rat smoking a cigarette wearing the same jacket. They gave each other
rat t-shirt.
Yes, they gave each other
so much world building.
They gave each other stick and poke tattoos in a tree house. Look me in my eyes. Look me in my eyes and tell me the Marauders did not have matching stick and poke tattoos.
Like wand poke tattoos.
We have to figure out this all right now. Like, the Marauders, like, stick and poke tattoos. Where are they? What was it of? And who gave them? Who gave who?
I mean, in Dad's case, it was their names, but, like, in 12-year-old handwriting on, like, their upper, like, right bicep. So I could see it being the Marauders' nicknames on the arm.
I think a little doodly of their animal.
I was totally gonna think the animal, like, Pettigrew has the rat, and it was...
I think James Potter has it between his shoulder blades. The stag with the horns, obviously.
He wanted to be sexy.
Okay, no, he has 2 horn tattoos, and they're both, like, on, like, on where his V's... Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god. Antlers and the Cum Gutters is hilarious, and it's the name of my next metal album.
Wait, was this... Now I have to wonder, was this before or after he and Lily were an item?
Oh, totally!
It has to be after.
No.
It has to be...
It happened on the night of James' bachelor party before he married Lily.
Yeah, it has to be after he got with Lily, because he has to be an adult if we're referring to them as cum gutters.
Let's see.
But I think that Sirius Black would have not had a tattoo of himself, but he would have had, like, some shitty tribal tattoo that was really meaningful to him.
Oh my god, yeah, he would. He would.
And Lupin would have some, like, weird quote, like it's super literary, or, like...
In Latin.
Yeah, in Latin. Yep.
Yeah, it would be, like, super, like, referential, like a really deep cut.
It would just be a joke. It would just be a moon joke in the end. If you, like, translate it, it's like a highbrow moon joke.
This I can see, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for indulging me.
Yeah. The way that I always imagine Sirius, in my, like, young Sirius in my head, is... pause this podcast, go to YouTube, look up Bruce Springsteen Dancin' in the Dark official music video. That's the general vibe of how I imagine Sirius in his motorcycle phase, and that's more or less what my dad looked like in 1984, just to give you an idea of what my mom was pulling. Good job, Mom, quite frankly. Hate to admit it.
I'm pulling it up. Just for my... Oh, is this one?
Mm-hmm. The one with Monica from Friends? With the cutoff shirt? Yes. Definitely had the same sensitive bad boy thing going on, like Sirius. Eventually, like, tried to get his shit together, joined the army, enjoyed the strong sense of camaraderie, never quite got rid of the problem with authority, though.
I get it.
Very smart, also very impulsive, had a lot of fallout in his life from the being impulsive shit, that eventually compiled to the point where he, a lot of his childhood friends were either, like, dead or in jail, most of his army friends had kind of moved on with their lives, and you get into sad dad territory.
Sad dad.
Yeah,
sad
so,
dad.
like, I won't keep you in suspense. He had a lot of chronic pain, and died of, like, a accidental painkiller overdose. Yeah, one of the side effects of a lot of really strong painkillers is that they cause confusion. So, like, when you hear about somebody, like, died of pain pills, like, there's this stigma around it of, like, oh, they were abusing their drugs, they just had their prescription to get high. No, a lot of those drugs cause confusion.
Yeah.
and can make you forget that you already took them.
Dude, there's literally a Bob's Burgers episode about this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to always do this, but there's literally a Bob's Burgers episode about this.
Wow.
Drink every time Tina or I bring up a Bob's Burgers reference.
It's the Halloween episode. It's the Halloween episode.
Oh God, you're right.
Teddy's dressed up like a nurse.
Oh my
and
God.
Bob is so paranoid and confused.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
also as a public health person, I can say that also depending on like what drugs you're taking, like if you're taking them with other things, like if you're taking like, you know, opioids for painkillers, but also like benzodiazepines for anxiety or like some depression things, like drugs will interact in ways. And like, you know, when people would like, you know, I would say, oh, like, I always carry Narcan, like, which is, like, a version of naloxone. Yeah. It's, like, the anti-reversal drug. Everyone should carry it.
We keep it in our house, and you should, too.
Absolutely. You can usually get it for free on, like, just look it up, at, like, in your local health department.
Really?
But, yeah, seriously. And, like, you can go online, like, I swear, like, it's usually, depending on the state, but most states nowadays, like, you can get it. But, like, with it, like, people don't even realize, like, we would try and give it to get out at pharmacies when, like, a person would come just to get their script, like, for their opioids they've been taking for years, and, like, they would be offended that they're like, oh, do you think I'm some, like, you know, drug person, or person that abuses their prescription drugs? And they're like, no, like just you said, like, there's other side effects, and, like, even, like, pets can get into it, you never know, so, like, anyone can, like, have, like, these pills, or, like, these drugs, like, have unchecked consequences, so...
Right. So, like, that's kind of how that ended. So, like, the whole thing with Sirius being trapped in the house and having literally no other options and just kind of being surly and depressed and probably drunk a lot of the time, hits different now. But we're on the grief chapter, which is actually a lot easier for me to talk about because...
It really is. The last chapter was so mad, and this chapter just feels kind of like hollow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly...
What stage of grief are we in now at this point?
The husk phase. That's the very last one.
I feel like just in this chapter alone, we definitely go through, like, denial and then also, like... bargaining, like he has this conversation with nearly headless Nick, and he's like, you can bring him back, right?
Okay, well, should we start going through this chapter now?
Yeah, we should start popping through it now.
Okay, buckle the fuck up, because I want to talk about all of this.
Click.
This chapter starts with what is assumed to be a Daily Prophet article about how Voldemort is back, baby. And they're like, yikes, also
Guess
equal
who's back?
regret.
Yeah.
The Dementors aren't on our team anymore.
Back again. Voldy's back. Tell a friend.
And then coincidentally, they don't make a big deal out of it, but just like very quietly, all of Dumbledore's accolades have been restored.
I kind of get like something passive aggressive in the tone of this article. Like I feel like this was someone on staff who like whatever they were writing was like the editors were popping all of their passive-aggressive snide shit in there, and, like, this is now their chance to very subtly be like, yeah, so anyway, Dumbledore is back in all of his old posts, and what do you know? He was right. Anyway, my coworkers are idiots.
I feel like in this day and age, we can compare this to, like, Fox News, like, as they're facing, like, they finally settled their, like, lawsuit or whatever, like, after the defamation cases from Dominion, all these, like, voting machines, after they peddled, like, conspiracy theories on national news, and just separated ways with Tucker Carlson, who is, gasped, clutches my pearls, a racist.
Surprise, surprise.
But, yeah, they're all like, oh, yeah, no, and, like, we didn't say those things, and now they're, like, seeing how Fox News reports on their own legal cases, trying to get around things that they did not say, is just a totally Ministry of Magic Daily Prophet. Like, it's almost like, you know, if, like, a government, like, is trying to have, like, the same arm of media, like, there might be some conflict of interest there.
Yeah. Like, the thing that kind of gives me this impression is that, like, in the way that they're quoting Fudge, they're just, like, using his stand-in words instead of adding, like, a couple asterisks to indicate that, like, you know who we're talking about. Instead, they're putting in, like, Lord Thingy. You know, that guy.
The Thingy, really. I was
Yeah,
like, come
sure,
on, man,
fine.
you're an adult.
Yeah, no, like, I feel like the person writing this article is just, like, finally getting their revenge. Like, they wish they had freedom of press, but they work for the fucking state paper. And they're just like, all right, fine, I'll quote the Minister of Magic directly. Lord Thingy. He's Lord Thingy now.
Like, come on, dude, you should know to just say he who must not be named, like a dignified person.
Yeah, or trying to get someone from the right to actually say the word white supremacist, and as or call them a terrorist. Yeah, Lord Thingy.
Lord
Oh my god.
Thingy.
The kids are all in the hospital wing. Ron, Harry, Hermione, Ginny, Luna, Neville. Ron and Hermione are the only ones who are actively in the hospital wing because Ron still has his wounds from his tentacle attack.
Yeah.
From the brains.
Yeah, is Neville out, or did his nose, I think, fully healed?
Oh yeah, his nose is fine.
It's healed. Ginny's ankle is healed. Luna's okay.
Yeah, Ron's been scarred by thoughts.
By thoughts. Yeah, literally Madame Pomfrey's like, oh, thoughts, I've seen this before.
Literally,
like, what is the Department of Mysteries?
What is her backstory, and how does she fucking have experience with shit that only happens at the Department of Mysteries?
Yeah, I have no fucking idea.
I need this fanfiction yesterday.
Exactly. If you know a good Pomfrey fanfic, send it my way.
Oh my god.
And then Hermione, we don't know exactly what happened to her. It was a silent spell, and it was like a custom Death Eater curse. And it, like, really fucked her up, and it says she's taking 10 potions a day to recover.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's crazy.
I feel like it might be one of the ones that, like, Snape might have invented when he was doing his weird little half-blood prince thing. Like, it sounds a lot like Sectum Sempra.
Yeah, there's a lot of... You're right, because it's like...
It's like a slashing motion.
Vicious.
Yeah.
It definitely does seem to be, like, someone invented that.
You also have Professor Umbridge that's steady chilling with them, like, and the hospital wing's not that big, so, like, then they're as Harry
like
and Ron,
talking
Hermione are engorging themselves on chocolate frogs and, like, talking about her, like, Umbridge. She's right there. She can totally hear them.
Yeah, I don't know. The movies make it seem at least kind of, like, long. Like, maybe they could be whispering, but I'm with you that it probably wouldn't be, like, a gigantic room.
Yeah, she's just, like, that out of it.
If we're going off the scale of the Lego models, I think, like, it's long and narrow. We're probably thinking maybe, like, 20 beds, 10 on each side, and that's being generous. I don't know. But with as frequent as accidents happen at the school, 20 beds may be an underestimate.
Yeah, that sounds like what if the whole Quidditch team goes down?
That could happen.
I think it could.
It probably has.
Mm-hmm.
They do mention a little bit about how Flitwick got rid of Fred and George's swamp in but a trice. But he, like, left a little bit of it roped off to commemorate them.
Which
How cute is that?
I'm so proud of Flitwick, but also, like, I just read a book called Fen, Bog, and Swamp.
Oh my god, Haley, you need to read that book.
Haley,
Go on.
I am giving you this book, and it is just talking about, I mean, it's very exciting, but also sad, because it's talking about their, like, deforestation and also the role in how, like, getting rid of wetlands has played a role in the climate crisis. And I'm just reading this, and I'm like, Fred and George actually did something good for the environment, and we are, like, going back. We're taking a step backwards here. But Flitwick, God bless.
Yeah. Yeah, I also want the Flitwick backstory. I want to know so much more about all of the teachers at Hogwarts who don't do quite enough, but they are great and they're there.
Yeah, like, I think we talked about, mostly in, like, the first book, how chaotic young, like, tiny magicians are, and how, like, most of those teachers probably have to be, like, I bet Madame Pomfrey is a former triage nurse, you know, like, these sound like battle-hardened veterans to me, and they're just like, it has to be you. No one else can handle this.
She served in the Great War or in the Balkans, and is, like,
Right.
used to seeing, like, traumatizing
This is nothing
shit.
after Trafalgar.
Yeah, so Umbridge is here. Dumbledore went alone into the forest to get her, which is kind of, he's tricking us into thinking he's being cool and badass at the end of this book, but he's actually being a horrible person. But that's fine. He does go into the forest single-handedly to get Umbridge, though.
The man knows his optics.
But please go into why he's being a terrible person.
Well, it's like the whole last episode we talked about it like in great depth, but he basically is just manipulating Harry so hard.
We're talking about like the conversation he had with Harry. I thought you meant specifically the action of Dumbledore going to rescue Umbridge. Like there was something nefarious.
Definitely go get Umbridge. Definitely go get Umbridge.
I take Umbridge with the rescuing of Umbridge. I think she should have just been left to rot. But that's my own personal.
Nah, Dumbledore knows his optics. If there's one thing that man can do, it's PR.
It's true. Ron makes like clip clop noises to like torture her, to torment her. And she reacts
violently.
She reacts violently. She obviously has some trauma.
I know this woman was abusive to Harry and is a package, like, literal pile of shit, but at least give her, like, a therapy cat or something, like...
Right, she needs a kitty.
Oh, she has so many cats at home. Like, no one has that many little decorative cat plates and no cats at home.
Send her home, then. Like, it's undignified to be here in, like, the school.
Oh, yeah, she'll go home. She goes home at the end of the chapter.
Well, speaking of which, like, as they're,
right.
like, the teachers, like, we're talking about, like, who's leaving, who's going, like, she tries to sneak out or whatever, and, Professor McGonagall, meanwhile, is coming back. She's finally out of St. Mungo's. And as she's coming back, she perfectly times this, and Snape is giving Draco some shit and, like, bragging about, like, oh, whatever. Like, yeah, your dad's in jail. That's my fault. Like, he's an asshole, so he deserves it. And I love McGonagall as she comes back in this scene. She totally just gives Snape the business.
She really does. She is like, Snape's trying to take 10 points, but Gryffindor has 0 points. So McGonagall comes in and gives 50 points to all the kids who broke into the Ministry of Magic.
Yes, we're awarding for property damage, vandalism, breaking curfew. Like, the list just goes on and on. But, yeah.
Sedition.
McGonagall's like, I thought I was gonna die. I can do whatever I want. I made it through getting shot in the chest 6 times. Like, what do you want from me?
Have you ever had a long, in-depth conversation on the show about how subjective and terrible the house point system is?
Probably. We've had a lot of conversations about
bonus
a lot
episode.
Of things. No. We did the math bonus episode. For as little as $1 a month, you too can have access to Patreon benefits.
What's this wee shit? I specifically was not involved in the math episode. By request.
Haley, you were excluded.
Yes, I was.
should have excluded myself and just let Andrew and Taylor figure it out.
I made a face at you. You knew what that face meant when you told me there was going to be a math episode. I tried. So
Harry is like, I'm going to go to Hagrid's, but then he's like, I don't know, actually. He doesn't want to be alone, but he doesn't want to be with people either.
Yeah, like this line always reminds me of a line from, like, the opening of The Phantom Tollbooth, which, if you haven't read it, is absolutely delightful. But it's about a super depressed kid on a hero's journey in a land that's made of fucking wordplay. But, like, one of the introductions for his character is, like, when he was out, he longed to be in, and when he was in, he longed to be out. And
relatable.
You know, yeah, like, that perfectly encapsulates depression, and it perfectly encapsulates, like, this specific period of the grieving process, like, the week in malaise. Like, I remember being at this point and doing things like forgetting how crosswalks worked and wandering into traffic by accident.
Oh my god.
Seeing, like, going down the street to, like, get coffee with somebody and just, like, someone would be coming toward me from like a couple blocks up, like a mom and a kid walking a dog, and it was like being high and feeling like everyone can tell you're high. It was like, I'm gonna cross the street because I don't want to have to make eye contact with you because I feel like you're going to ask if I'm okay, and I don't want to talk about that. Like, yeah, like, it's not entirely rational, but, like, this whole, like, it kind of feels like moving through mud. Like, the chapter feels like it's dragging because that's how that feels. Like, it feels like you're just dragging your body through time. It's not good. It's a bad time. Reading this chapter is a bad time, and I think that's part of the reason.
Yeah. And as Harry's like walking across the grounds, his like other students are like saying hi to him, like they're all like, "Hey, like I heard that you're a good guy now." And he just feels so far away from them, like he feels so alienated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's in like just like a vortex where he just hears and like time is like moving around him, but like he was moving almost through quicksand, and
it is like being high.
Yeah.
But it's sad, but like the worst.
Yeah,
high.
it's like the worst high of your entire life. Like, it's the one piece of practical advice I can give anybody who, like, their friend has just lost someone. Offer to tell other people for them, because they don't like,
true.
That's the worst part. The worst part is having to, like, I know that I'm being weird. I know that I'm being, like, quiet and spacey and depressed. I might start crying at any moment. And this person who does not know me and does not know what's up doesn't deserve that, so I'm going to just have to explain it. And I really don't want to have to like, that's kind of the hardest part of all of that. So, like, if you really want to practically help someone, ask who you can tell for them. That's
that's great. That's great practical advice.
Honestly, this has been your moment of practical advice with the restricted section.
I also do that with like other stuff. Like if there's other, I don't know, not to make this about me, but like as a leader in leadership positions, I'm like, do you want me to tell the bad news? And people are like, yeah, and I'm like, cool. It's not even my bad news, so I'm happy to share.
Sure. Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, honestly, it really does. It's helpful in a lot of situations. I've heard that listed in situations where, like, people are trying to unionize. Like, I don't want to unionize with these people because they might be shitty to me for, bigotry reasons. All right, get one ally and have the ally run interference for you. Like, this, it's good general practical advice.
All team building.
Yay!
Okay, so Harry, like, does go down to Hagrid's. And then Hagrid is like,
so happy.
Don't talk about Sirius, don't talk about Sirius, don't talk about Sirius. And then he's like, well, anyway, about Sirius.
But, like, Harry needs to talk about it.
He does.
Oh, he doesn't want to.
I know as a 15-year-old that has experienced trauma and has never had an outlet to talk healthfully about feelings your whole life, that being hit, like, with that brick is gonna hurt. But you need to talk about it, my guy.
Yeah, I probably, like, if I was Hagrid or anyone that knows Harry right now, I'd be like, hey, do you want to, like, come do this activity or this activity? And those would be, like, the two options. Like, you could come, like, walk around the lake with me, or you can help me make dinner. Yeah. And, like, we're going to do one of those things, and, like, we don't have to do anything else, you know?
Honestly, something Brooke used to do, like, we would get tea when all of this was going on, and she was dealing with a bunch of stuff with a good friend of hers was going through a very different kind of hard time. Her parents were giving her a lot of shit about something, and so she would just, like, invite me out for tea, and whenever she saw me spacing out, she would say, do you want to talk about it, or do you want to be distracted?
Yeah.
And, like, that's, like, yeah, you do have to talk about it eventually, but, like, not that week, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
that's great.
You can't, like, corner somebody into that conversation, like, even if it's, a kid that you kind of feel responsible for, and, like, you really want them to talk about it. If you really want them to talk about it, and they know you really want them to talk about it, guess what they don't want to fucking do? Talk about it.
It's just, like, a lot of pressure, and, like, also, like, what is there to say?
Yeah.
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 And I think that just from Hagrid's perspective, because I totally agree. Like, everyone has to talk about it in their own time, in their own terms, right? But I think with Hagrid, he realizes that, Harry already is an orphan, and then the closest thing he had to a father figure is gone. So someone has to make sure he's doing okay. Like, otherwise,
who is making sure he's okay?
Yeah,
I mean, Hermione.
This is like a good overture from Hagrid, because I think you're absolutely right, Alex. Because he's got
otherwise someone has to take responsibility for this kid who is still a child.
Right, like, he's got his friends, but, like, he's got Dumbledore, kind of, but, like, he feels like he has Dumbledore.
He feels like
as soon as this all, like, shit went down, as he was still processing the immediacy of Sirius getting pushed through the veil, Dumbledore asked once, like, Harry, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, fine. And it was like, all right. And then just, like, went off.
Yeah, no,
and,
it's like they don't have, like, a long, therapeutic, heart-to-heart, emotional conversation kind of relationship. And everyone that Harry does have that kind of relationship with is also 15 or younger. So, no, I think this is a good overture on Hagrid's part, but, like, give him an out, man.
Yeah.
Just give him an out.
Yeah.
Yep. So Harry's just, like, walking around the lake wishing he could disappear.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like this entire chapter is just, like, a extended, like, Evanescence music video.
Oh.
You're not wrong.
You know what I'm thinking of? Sorry to bring up Twilight again already. But do you remember in, is it New Moon? I can't keep them straight because they're all just moon words. The second one where Edward has left her and it's just like the blank pages. It says like January and it's blank February and it's like blank March is blank. And the movie renders this kind of possibility. That's the energy right now.
Yeah. I always know, like, when I'm having kind of a backslide moment, when I catch myself wandering around my own house in slow motion, staring at the floor. Like, that's my warning sign, and I kind of feel like that's what Harry's doing right now. It's distinctive, and it feels like it looks distinctive. And, he's not having a good time.
And then it's just like, the rest of term.
Yeah.
Ron and Hermione leave the hospital wing. Umbridge flees the school, chased out by Peeves with McGonagall's walking stick.
Which is the only reason McGonagall doesn't run out after her, laughing.
I do love the way it's written, though, where it's like, McGonagall is like, no, don't, that's rude. Anyway, I'm old.
No,
stop, please.
Don't go, stop.
Like fucking Gene Wilder and
That's
Willy
exactly
Wonka at the
that's
Chocolate
what I.
Factory.
That's exactly what I'm quoting. Yeah.
Me too.
Haley always like on the same page with my memes.
Hell yeah.
Haley is my meme generator.
As are you mine.
Okay, I'm gonna need to see some more memes out of both of you if that's the case.
Our memes are of the oral variety.
Yeah. You're
oral memes are just jokes.
Yeah, they're jokes with meme references. You want to argue the etymology of a meme versus a reference versus a joke?
No, I don't, because I think the etymology of meme literally comes from like repeated wordplay.
It comes from memetics.
I believe you. Anyway, I'll dig into that surely on some other podcast at some point in my life. It's the last night of term. Everyone's heading down to the feast, and Harry's like, nah.
Nah, but ain't got time for that, people. No.
Oh, I would prefer not to.
He knows that Dumbledore's gonna like make an announcement about it because he did that last year after the whole Goblet of Fire incident. And that one was hard for Harry, and he's like, well, we're not doing that again.
or after the third or second or first, like, every time Harry and his friends go off, they get some, like...
They get a speech at the end of the year.
A speech at the end of the year, like, 50 points to Gryffindor.
It's true. It's true. They don't deserve it. Harry's packing. He finds the package that Sirius gave him before the school year started. You know, when Sirius was like, if you need me, use this. And then 10 months later, no, like 6 months later, Harry was like, I need him, and doesn't use it. It's the mirror.
The mirror.
He looks into it, he says Sirius's name, but nothing changes. And then he throws it and shatters.
He tries it a couple times too, and he compares it to the mirror of Erised, because
It's bad.
that didn't not work. You know,
I saw my parents.
He hasn't exactly had like closure. Like Sirius just kind of like went through a hole. Like it's like there's like a body or like a jar to carry around.
Yeah, as much as I shit on Harry for being super emo and irrational and just like lashing out irrationally during this whole book, considering that he has had like so like few healthy adult relationships to model after, like if Harry were to take like one of like the estate surveys where it's asking you about adverse childhood experiences, like Harry would probably check off every single one. And then just looking at his future life and like, oh, you're gonna have so many like health issues and like God's bless, but like yeah. Like now I'm looking back at it as an adult and I'm like, I can't really cringe too hard. I may still cringe, but yeah, considering his reactions when like the only person that he had to, who was not necessarily even in his own right. Like, Sirius is a cool character, but was he a good parental figure or a guardian?
No, he gave it his all, but he had a lot to learn.
Yeah, and not a lot to work with.
And not a lot to work with. But he was giving it his all.
Yeah, and when, like, the penal system is just as unforgiving in the wizarding world as it is in the human world, like, Sirius had zero chances of actually reintegrating into society and being that figure that Harry needed. But also, I'm not sure it was in his spirit. Like,
no, Sirius was always going to have fun uncle energy.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean that like he would have been the worst possible guardian for Harry. Like, he would definitely be better than the Dursleys, but like, would he be a good parent? Not necessarily. But none of us really know our fathers, do we? Anyway.
Yeah. I feel like Sirius could have done okay mostly because Harry is already 15. Like, a lot of you can only do so much when you become guardian at 15. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, with all the shit that Harry has been going through, he is already at the age of 15 doing such hard drugs. Like, they're like he is smoking weed every day, like probably chain smoking cigarettes. Like,
do you remember in the movie at the beginning of the Order of the Phoenix movie, he is like out in this, it is in the books too, but in the movie, I feel like the aesthetic, he's just like out in like the summer, like heat, like on the playground, and it's like deserted. And he's just sitting there, and I'm like, he definitely, maybe this is the beginning of the sixth one. No,
it's the fifth one. It's just like the suburban hellscape of Privet Drive.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's for sure smoking weed. Any kid in that scene is smoking weed.
Honestly, if this book had more of a YA lean to it, then Harry would have figured out how to make peace with Dudley to the point of, hey bro, can you help me score an ounce?
Yeah.
Because Dudley's smoking weed.
Dudley,
for sure.
If he's not, he's totally dealing it.
No, he's smoking it.
Oh.
I believe it in my soul. Like, recognizes, like...
I don't think he's cool enough to be dealing it, but maybe when he's older. Maybe like 16, 17-year-old Dudley.
A lot of dumbasses sell weed. That's one thing I've learned in life.
Honestly, you know what? If anyone's selling it, though, it's Piers Polkus.
Oh, Piers fucking Polkus.
Yeah, isn't that a fucking weed dealer name?
Yes.
That's Dudley like Craigslist Mike.
Dudley gets in on it. He never lets himself get caught. Piers Polkus, the cops know that kid's name, dude.
Yeah.
They're coming for Pierce, but Dudley's the one making the moves behind the scenes.
No, Dudley's the muscle.
Dudley's the muscle, okay. Do you think Dudley has money? Like, do you think his parents give him money?
Of course they do.
Just like a bunch of money all the time?
I think they give him money, and I think he steals money out of his mom's purse and doesn't even think about it as stealing.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, she doesn't care.
Do you think do they, like, have money?
They have enough money to have, like,
me-
a company car.
I would think they're upper middle class.
They're upper middle class enough that they feel compelled to make a point of being upper middle class.
I still think, or maybe they're like middle class, but like, or lower middle class, but they're just like all petunias, so just like up with like.
Are they pretending?
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
They're
definitely keeping up with the Joneses, but like I think it's a big point of pride because keep in mind this is like the 90s. So you could still have like a single breadwinner household technically. So and like Vernon is pretty high up in his company. And Britain is very class conscious, so this is a situation where what it means to be middle class or upper middle class has changed. It no longer means that you have household staff, like a cook and a housekeeper at the very least. It no longer means that you definitely have a nanny. But
they're living in the suburbs.
Right, but like you still have like luxury items, so that's how you show off.
Canonically, they could afford a PlayStation before the PlayStation was released. Where did they get that?
Yeah.
Harry has an epiphany. He's like, Sirius Black is probably a ghost right now.
Wait a second, I know ghosts! There are ghosts all over the place. This place is lousy with ghosts. Where's a ghost?
He's like, obviously Sirius Black would become a ghost. And like, to me, truly, that feels like so delusional to me because like definitely Sirius Black would never want to be a ghost. Gryffindor's, well, I guess the fucking Nearly Headless Nick was a Gryffindor, but I feel like Sirius Black, well, fucking Nearly Headless Nick is like, I was a coward.
Yeah. He was a coward, and I don't know, that's interesting how Gryffindors who like are known for being brave and like going out fighting, when finally faced with death, are just complete little, they shit their pants.
Well, I do kind of, this goes back to my theory about the houses, which is that, like, it's not necessarily the traits that you have, it's the traits that you most value. Often you'll have the traits that you, like, if you value a trait, you'll try to cultivate that in yourself. So a lot of Gryffindors would then be brave, a lot of Ravenclaws would then be smart. But that doesn't mean it's impossible to have a stupid Ravenclaw or like a treacherous Hufflepuff or a cowardly Gryffindor like Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I don't think Neville is he starts out cowardly and then grows courageous.
Mm-hmm.
Neville can stand up for himself when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But that's because he values...
It takes a great deal of courage. It takes a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
Yeah, it takes a lot of motivation for him, but like he can get there because he values courage so much. Because he's grown up hearing about his parents.
I feel like so many Dumbledore-isms would just end up being like motivational posters that are hanging up in Dr. Fran's office. Like, it takes a great deal more courage to steal up to your friends, or like you only
like a kitten hanging from a branch.
Yeah, or like there, you can only find truth in darkness. One only has to have the courage to turn off the light, or some bullshit. Yeah, which I totally have. I butchered, but I have hanging on a sign downstairs in my house.
They're probably hanging all over St. Mungo's. Let's be real.
Yeah, Harry goes and chases down Nearly Headless Nick. Nearly Headless Nick is like, let's not do this.
And Harry's like, what if we did, though?
What if we did? We must.
Can we talk in this empty room where you have no obvious means of polite escape?
But,
Harry holds open the door for Nearly Headless Nick, but he goes through the wall anyway, and I think that's funny.
Power move.
It is.
It really is. And, like, Nearly Headless Nick definitely, it's like, yeah, let's just get this over with. Every time someone has a loss, like, I just have to sit through this. And, like, he probably has a speech ready. Like, if he could, he'd have note cards prepared.
Yeah.
Well, we've established that ghosts can send each other letters for some fucking reason!
You could make a PowerPoint, maybe.
PowerPoint party.
Have someone make him a PowerPoint about, so your friend
Computers
just
don't
died.
work on Hogwarts grounds, Christina. There's too much magic in the air.
So your dad/dad figure just died. Here's what you need to know. Because Harry starts like barraging Nick with all these questions about death, and Nick's like, I literally don't know anything more than you do.
No, like, that's kind of the whole point, bro. Like, no, I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost, therefore I know nothing about the other side.
I
that's the
chose
point.
differently.
Yeah, I'm not on the other side. I'm here.
Okay, so then Harry walks away, and he runs into Luna Lovegood. Good person to run into. She expects nothing from you.
I'm not sure about y'all, but like after seeing the movies, Luna is really for me, one of the most characters where I cannot imagine, like, when I grew up reading these books, I had versions of my own, like, of the characters in my head. But with Luna, she was just, like, the one character where, like, after I saw the movies, I'm like, this is just how she looks and talks forever.
Yeah, that's kind of true for me as well. Like, I remember having a different image in my head, but, like, she wasn't that different, so it just, seeing the movie, it felt like when your friend's been telling you about an old friend of theirs for years, and then you finally meet them in person, and you're like, I kind of had an image of you, and this isn't quite what I was imagining, but same vibe exactly, and I can edit it very easily.
When I finally look up a picture of the podcaster that I'm really vibing with, I'm like, you look like that? My friend Lainey and I, when we were kids, used to read Luna Lovegood's parts aloud to each other, practicing our British accent, and we were going to go audition to play her in the movie. We didn't do that, but wouldn't it have been cool if we did?
Aw, that's sweet.
Luna Lovegood is gathering all her lost possessions that people have stolen
Yep.
from her over the year. Like, can we talk about this?
Yep.
Yeah, but she also mentions after he hangs up posters, like, they always come back. So how much of this is, like, people taking things from Luna and others, like, Luna misplacing things and then just perceiving that other people just took them from her instead of her remembering she misplaced them?
I can see her misplacing things, but I feel like she would have, like an ADHD kind of sense for, like, no, I remember that I left it in the bathroom because I was thinking about those notes in the bathroom and I was checking them while I was washing my hands and I just never picked it up. No, I do remember. I do remember where it was.
Yeah, I can see that too. And also I kind of feel called out because I, like, low-key feel that my entire life I do have ADHD, but, like, have never been formally diagnosed. So you just saying, like, oh, you have, like, a photographic memory of where you lost the thing, but it's not there, and you just don't know really where it is and where it happened after that. Like, you remember where you last had it, but...
Yeah, no, my thing is, like, it's photographic, but only for, like, locations, so I can remember things based on where they happened, and I can usually piece together a timeline from that. Yeah. But, in terms of, like, remembering people's birthdays... no.
I remember people's birthdays for Haley.
Yeah.
Texted you about a birthday just today.
Yes, you did. Thank you for that.
I actually texted you about it twice.
Well, I replied this time.
Spoilers, was it Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew is experiencing an upcoming birthday.
Woo.
Poor sot.
So Luna shares that her mother died. Harry's like, she can see Thestrals. She understands. She's like, my mom died. Her mom, like, experimented with spells and then...
died when she was 9.
She died when Luna was 9, like, in a spell mishap.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. And, like, something that I do really like about this scene and, like, how it deals with, like, Harry's reactions and, like, Harry kind of being in his little grief vortex. Because it really does become, like, a vortex of, like, oh, I'm justified, actually, in reacting however I act, and, like, actually no one can say shit. Like, no one can say shit. If it's 2 weeks after your dad died, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, you kind of can. And it's, like, no one can be mad at you for, like, taking time off work. Like, no one's gonna try to talk you out of it. They can't. they're not allowed. It would break the social... It's so freeing. It really is. So, like, Harry's kind of been in this state of, like, I don't give a shit if I'm rude anymore. For, like, this... And keep in mind, this is a British guy thinking, I don't give a shit about social pleasantries?
But then Luna's like, I don't care either.
Yeah, and, like...
I see you.
And, like, this moment right here where, like, Luna also doesn't give a shit and, like, doesn't react if he's rude to her, but he realizes, like, oh, I feel really bad for you right now. You're having a really hard... Like, I'm having a hard time, but you also are having a genuinely very hard time right now. And, like, that's kind of what starts to snap Harry out of it. And, like, it just reminds me of how, like, when I would hang out with you or Brooke or Emma or anybody else, in, you know, like, the month or so after I first lost my dad, people would keep catching themselves complaining about literally anything. Like, I've been having problems with my boyfriend. He's being kind of shitty. Like, we're trying to buy a house and, like, it's... the realtor's fucking us over, or, like, we just can't find anything, and I'm getting kind of nervous, and oh my god, I shouldn't be complaining to you right now, I am so sorry. And, like, no, please, keep going. Tell me about your friend in Chicago who almost joined a cult.
Put the co in co-misery.
Right, it really, like, there's an upper limit to how sad you can be physically. Like, feelings do come from emotions, and after a certain point, they kind of burn themselves out, and, like, then you just kind of drift for a bit while they replenish themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, like, being able to sympathize with somebody else who's also having a tough time, especially if it's a tough time that has nothing to do with what's going on with you, it's kind of relaxing. It's, you know, you don't have to change your mindset or pretend to be in a good mood, but you can at least sit there and be like, man, that does suck. I'm sorry, bro.
So I would say the closest thing for me in terms of, like, losing someone unexpected who I was really close with was, like, my uncle and my aunt, my dad's sister, like, just like my brother and I, like, my dad's really close with his sister. Like, my uncle is, like, a second dad to me. And he passed away, like, when, like, very unexpectedly. And just, like, the grief that comes after that. And my aunt, like, having to be a widow when, like, at still, like, a fairly, like, young age. And she, like, going through therapy was just like, you know what? Like, and the biggest advice she gave to me and Zach's mom and everyone that, like, went through, like, a couple of years later, because it was just, like, really eerie. My uncle passed away from esophageal cancers, like, so did Zach's dad, like, and there was, like, a lot of overlap, and, like, my aunt always said, you know, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's something here, like, when people have died, and, like, when you're on the opposite side, right, where, like, it's not, like, not your family member that's passed, but someone that you're trying to comfort, and you just don't know what to say, or you don't want to be, like, awkward or presumptuous, like, you don't want to, like, impose on them or, like, tell them how they should grieve or feel, and so just also, but, like, having that permission, because, like, being, like, the tent pole that holds up, like, you know, for me, like, I was just, like, cooking constantly, and just, like, keeping everything else around, like, keeping normal, and it's just, like, a little phrase that I think really goes a long way for everybody, like, so.
Yeah, it does. We live in a very, like, positivity-saturated culture of, like, don't be negative. If you think negative thoughts, then negative things will come your way. But if you think positive thoughts, then everything will turn out fine. Shut up. Shut up. That's not how anything works. That is not how anything works. If you are upset, just let yourself be upset. Write it out. And let people around you write it out if they need to.
Yeah, be like, I'm mad. Watch out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've learned to do that in my marriage. I'm like, today's not the day for you, so you should try again tomorrow.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to just be open and honest with people about where you're at. And like, why something is important to you. If somebody doesn't know why something is important to you and you don't emphasize that, then they're not going to treat it like it's important and you're going to feel slighted. Unless you tell them why it's important to you.
Wow.
Everyone in Harry Potter.
Yeah, he really does just need to be talking to anyone about anything.
Anyone needs to be talking to anyone about anything. Sirius needs to be saying, like, hey, this is a mirror that lets us talk to each other. Use it if you really need to chat. I'm not going to go anywhere. That's all anyone needed to say. That would have fixed everything. No. It had to be a surprise.
But instead, we're all going to not talk about our feelings except to Luna, and then we're going to end the semester, and we're going to all get on the Hogwarts Express, and just everything's going to be all hunky-dory, and we're just going to end this, and, you know, no one's going to think about anything negative.
Narrator voice, but it was not hunky-dory.
Well, I mean, we did get to turn Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle into slugs. That was fun.
It actually... As our friend Jay pointed out in an email a week or 2 or 3 ago, Harry actually does start Half-Blood Prince, like, kind of moved on from this.
Yeah.
It happens very quickly. It's like, all right.
It's like a summer romance, you know? It's amazing what will happen, like, after you go away for 3 months. Like, everyone, when you sign your yearbooks, it's the end of the school year, and you're like, oh my god, Lilas, don't, like, keep in touch, don't ever change. And then you come back, and, like, it's the next school year, and, like,
changed.
Everyone's like, oh, yeah, I fuck you, I forgot about you, I guess.
Happened so fast. That is kind of a major complaint of mine. Like, I think something that bothers me about Sirius's character, and always did, is that he represents a lot of the, like, missed opportunities in this series for, like, deepening the world building and, like, the implications of all of this wacky shit. And, like, this whole grieving process. Yeah, it's really good for these, like, 2 chapters. And then, like you said, Alex, we get to book 6, and Harry's just like, what about my best friend's younger sister, though? I'm 16, I'm horny, I'm cute, I'm the Quidditch captain, let's go.
The next book,
Let's go.
The next book is so fun.
But
I'm so excited for Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince is one of, like, the best, but also, like, we had to end this book, like, letting everyone know that Ginny was, like, super available. I mean, she's dating Dean Thomas. She was super available for 3 seconds, and then was like, but I've already moved on because Dean Thomas is like,
I love, like, Ron's whole reaction here of just, like,
looks directly at Harry.
Yeah, like, he's not involved, but he is invested. He's, like, he's as invested as someone who's, like, really, really into a trashy dating show. Like, he's upset that she was with someone who wasn't good enough for her, but also, like, doesn't want her to be with anybody else. And she's just sitting there not giving a shit.
She doesn't care.
Which I respect.
Yeah. The train ride home is cute. Harry and Ron are playing chess. We feel good, which is, like, Malfoy and the cronies come trying to fight, and it's like, and we got him, you know, and we got him.
Yep.
They see Harry sees. Oh no, does he see Joe? Oh yeah, Joe passes with Marietta with fucking scarves or whatever it says covering.
Yeah, balaclava.
A balaclava.
Yep.
Not scarves, a fucking balaclava covering her permanent blemishes? That's fucked.
I thought this was baklava at first, and
she's just got baklava smeared on her face. She's just been going ham with the baklava.
Okay, so then the train slows down into King's Cross Station. Harry is like, what if I sit here for the rest of my life?
Relatable.
And then he's like, no, I got this. Okay,
no, British social contract. Gotta do what everyone else is doing.
Moody, Tonks, Lupin, Mr. and Mrs. Weasley, and Fred and George wearing matching dragon skin suits. They're all here to fetch the children. And they came to speak with Vernon and Petunia.
This is an intervention!
Yeah.
I do like this whole chapter is full of just everyone that is Harry's ally being like, oh, I don't care anymore. Like, McGonagall shows up and verbally bitch slaps Snape. They curse the fuck out of Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle because they're like, who's gonna punish us? Like, literally who? And then, like, all of these responsible adults show up for Harry, and they're like, has Dumbledore sanctioned this? Who knows? Who cares? They're tired of waiting. They have clearly been wanting to do this for years, and they are going to confront the fucking Dursleys. They don't care anymore. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I argue that, like, maybe do it sooner. I don't know.
I think that they were being held back, and no one's holding them back anymore.
Just, like, don't allow yourself to be held back.
Their British social contract, they have to be polite.
Say what you need to say.
Nope, British social contract, they have to be polite.
So Mr. Weasley leads the charge, which, like, I think smart move. He's, like, an amicable gentleman.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like when we send Sean to negotiate with people at festivals when there's been an incident.
Sean is an intersection of Arthur Weasley and Remus Lupin. He's in the middle there.
That's so true.
And I love it.
He's a gentle gentleman.
Oh god, imagine Sean as a werewolf, though.
He would feel so spicy. He'd be like, guys, I literally turned into a werewolf. You're feeling squirrely, Sean?
No, I'm feeling wolfy.
When he's hyper, that's what I say. Basically, they just threaten Uncle Vernon, and then he's like, do I look like a man who can be intimidated? And Mad-Eye Moody, like, whips out his crazy magical eye, and Uncle Vernon reacts to that.
Like,
and he's
falls
like,
backwards into a luggage trolley or something.
It's my favorite line.
I love, like, the good cop, bad cop energy of Arthur Weasley and Mad-Eye Moody.
My favorite part, besides the whole threat from Moody, is how Petunia is very off-put by Tonk's pink hair, and just thinking how in our modern times, like, you know, you cross the street and like 5 people have like different color, like pink and bronze and like crazy hair.
I think isn't the language like it was more offensive to her than all the rest?
Yes,
or
yes.
And she keeps closing her eyes rather than look at her.
Having pink hair is so fun and liberating. Are you joking me?
The fact that Petunia is like so off-put, it doesn't matter about the weird, like that they're being kind of confronted by strangers and like her husband has been threatened. It's no, this woman has pink hair and she is going outside the societal norm. She's colored outside of the lines and this cannot stand.
Look at her piercings!
This makes me want to have pink hair even harder now.
She might be a lesbian.
No, let's be real. Like, we can't talk about how Tonks gives me such like big NB like or lesbian vibes. Like, we can't. It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting.
Perhaps we could talk about that during one of our summer bonus episodes, Alex. Right?
Teasers.
More to come. They all say goodbye.
Bye-bye, Tati, bye.
Mrs. Weasley is like, I'll get you out of that house in 2 to 4 weeks, because as a reminder, that's the random amount of time that the blood love magic that your mother has cast upon you requires you to be with your Aunt Petunia to keep the charm going. So I'll see you in 4 weeks. Isn't that so random and stupid and makes you want to just punch a tree?
Yeah, it's like as long as this is fucking mailing address or something. Like, what exactly are the terms here?
It's like, can we use like the whole like strategy that I'm using, where it's like, oh, like everything, like I have some mail that comes directly to my house, but other mail that's strategically sent to my future mother-in-law's house in the county, so like I can have cheaper car insurance. Like,
yeah,
no, I do not have that. But that's a good idea.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, is that how this works? Because I remember that time Mrs. and Mr. Weasley almost kidnapped Harry.
Can we transfer this to a P.O. box? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, no, seriously. Remember the time the Weasleys almost kidnapped Harry themselves, like before their sons did it for them? That was 3 years ago. Like, she's
in Chamber of Secrets.
Like, she has been restraining herself for so long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They kidnapped him in the first book, or not the Weasleys, but like, you know, like even
well, yeah, but that was Dumbledore's sanctioned.
Oh,
she's been wanting, like, she's trying to get him out of that house.
God, I feel
God, I love Molly.
I just like it's is so infuriating. Just like the fact that like they need a fucking signed permission form to go on a field trip to Hogsmeade.
Yeah, right.
Like, what is this bullshit? Like, this is not like wizards could just like
They're
conjure
walking.
up.
No, Alex, they're walking nuclear bombs. Like these are wizard children. They're not fully in control of anything that they do. Imagine if they got loose. Remember when the Marauders got loose?
I feel like just like, you know how in elementary school or preschool you had those little like ropes that all had the handles on them where kids had to hang on and you were going in your line.
Way too poor for that.
What? I didn't do that. Yeah, I definitely did.
Oh.
No, we were just expected to follow each other. And
Well,
we
that
kind
was-
of did.
That was like in kindergarten, but like when you're talking with like little itty bitty children and you're like at a daycare or something and you like have to go on a field trip, they will always have those like little ropes with like little like handles on them, and they're like, all right, children. So instead of like, you know, a teacher hanging on to like 10 million children's hands, they're like all holding on to like this rope. That's how I feel.
I've seen that out in the wild, but like my preschool simply did not go on field trips. That's the solution when you don't have a rope. You don't have rope funding. I
just feel like that's how it has to be here. Like, it's like they put like either like everyone has to hang on the rope as they go into Hogsmeade, or like they just throw on some like wristbands that prevents them from doing
everyone
magic.
Everyone out of the way. They can't control themselves.
How did we get talking about Hogsmeade here at the end of Order of the Phoenix?
Because of the stupid, it's a permission form.
All of the fucking regulations around these children and where they go and who with.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But like, I'm just saying, like, letting them loose out in the wild.
There's a difference between permission forms and blood magic.
You don't need to have a permission form to let a child completely come and just room and board stay with you for 8 months out of the year, like no questions asked, and just like
you do if Dumbledore keeps saying no, but like, then you don't if you stop caring what Dumbledore says.
But as soon as they leave the premises of the school, like where they're officially a liability, like our liability insurance doesn't go that far, so that's why we need you to sign this permission form.
Basically. Okay, y'all, let's reel it in. Because I'm gonna cry. We just finished Order of the Phoenix.
You did! Nostrovia!
Do you guys want to do another shot?
I already have my port.
Wait, no, it's... oh, God. It's... I'll just chug this.
I thought we were... We're not waiting?
No, like, I'm trying to get it a little, like, I've got it mixed with the ginger ale right now, so I'm just trying to get it down to, like, a reasonable level for me to shoot it. So you're a weak-ass
bitch who hasn't finished their drink yet.
I've been refilling it this whole time. What are you talking about?
Okay.
To the end of Order of the Phoenix.
To the end of Order of the Phoenix. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Yes!
Huzzah!
God damn it, I grow ever closer to the end of this godforsaken book series, and one day I will rise above Harry Potter.
Like a phoenix. Just like from Harry Potter.
And cheers to that.
Great.
Man, I'm so messy. I spill everything every time.
I actually did that one very neatly.
Sad.
Haley, what are some final thoughts that are bouncing around in your brilliant little brain?
I'll abbreviate this one. So I didn't actually realize until I was, like, preparing for this episode that my dad was born the same year as Sirius Black. I, like, started doing some very general math and then started wondering if maybe he was, and then I looked it up like a reasonable modern person. And that kind of led me to realize, or I guess form a theory. I think the first Wizarding War happened because of the moon landing.
Okay.
The moon landing happened in 1969, yes?
We went to the moon in 1969, not 1970, but a year sooner.
And before that and after that, like, the Cold War was going on, and, like, there were nukes, and people were talking about, like, literally ending the world over in Muggle land.
Sure.
Okay, so here's my theory. 9 years old. You are a wizard. You are a pure-blood wizard from a family that doesn't think that Muggles are sentient or human, much less capable of anything impressive. And yet you keep hearing that someone landed on the moon.
We
There's
went
evidence.
to the moon
We
in
went to the moon.
1969.
That's so funny, Alex, because I was watching Hulu's Aaron Carter documentary earlier today, and Christy Carlson Romano was talking on it.
Oh, well, that's totally not bookmarked for me to be watching later tonight, so...
Oh my god, it's very depressing.
Okay, maybe I'll watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, watch it when you're feeling a lot. It was not good preparation for this chapter.
No. People dying everywhere. Teen idols.
Yes. I'm feeling it. People die all the time. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, happens a lot. Only
My
a few of them become ghosts.
sucks.
My friend just posted on Facebook the other day that, like, what is your first concert? And her answer was Aaron Carter, and I had to be like, oh, R.I.P., like, you'll never get that revival tour.
Sean's first concert was Aaron Carter.
Amazing.
Was it?
Amazing.
It literally was. And guys, listen. I was watching... I love Sean so much. I was watching this Aaron Carter documentary, and it's like 50 minutes long, and Sean came in after like 15 or 20 minutes and sat down and was sitting there for so long before he finally at long last picked up on the past tense in the documentary and was like, are they saying that Aaron Carter died? And I was like, yeah, babe.
Wait, okay. I'm having a Sean moment, because...
I think he died approximately 6 months ago.
Really?
And then Sean was like, what?
I heard nothing.
Yeah, he died 6 months ago by drowning in his bathtub.
But also, Haley, I feel like if you sat down for an Aaron Carter documentary that was released this year, you would detect within a cool 30 seconds that this man was currently deceased.
Oh, yeah, no, if they were talking, like, I was starting to wonder a little earlier in this conversation, and then you kind of confirmed for me, so... yeah, 6 months, really.
I'm not trying to hate on Aaron.
Approx.
I'm not trying to hate on Aaron Carter. Like, I'm sure he made valuable contributions and outside of his like discography, whatever. But like, the only reason in the year of our Lord, like 2023, that there would be an Aaron Carter documentary is if he either like died or like won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
So like I think I had heard some stuff about like allegations about abuse of, you know, any young film or music star, really, like that those kinds of allegations aren't unlikely. So I feel like I had heard something about that some years ago, but I was never invested enough in Aaron Carter or Nick Carter or anything boy band related to remember.
It's almost as if trauma or being a childhood star or dealing with these types of issues as a young adult will drive you to substance use, which is something that is not covered at all for, you know, obvious reasons.
Right,
but
yeah.
Harry
So, like,
would have totally been, yeah.
Yeah, no, like, so I would not have been surprised by an Aaron Carter documentary if there had been, like, stuff going on that I hadn't heard about, because clearly there was stuff going on that I hadn't heard about. But, yeah, I didn't know he was dead. Huh.
The more you know.
And, guys, I'm just saying he was a dad.
Was he? Wow, I was
Yeah.
really I was never in that loop. We established a couple of days ago that I can't distinguish NSYNC from Backstreet Boys. Much like I can't distinguish, who is it? Taylor Swift from
matter.
fucking, not Hannah Montana, whatever, Miley Cyrus, that
Miley
one.
Cyrus. Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying Aaron Carter we dedicated this episode to the dads, and Aaron Carter is another dad.
Oh.
It's dads all the way down.
That's all the way down.
Yeah, anyway, I'm pretty sure that the First Wizarding War popped off because of the moon landing, because imagine being a shitty...
That's what we were talking about.
Imagine being a shitty pureblood wizard who's been trying to insist this whole time that muggles are idiots who can't do anything, and then they land on the moon, and now you have to prove your superiority. I'm just saying, I feel like the wizarding world was already kind of in the middle of a culture war, and I would have liked to see more of that, because I think Sirius had an interesting cultural journey.
Aw.
Those are my final thoughts.
Wow, okay, incredible. Alex, what are your final thoughts about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix?
Yes.
Which we just finished.
She said disdainfully.
Keeping this succinct, to be honest, I think I said this on the last time I was on the show, This was, spoilers, the only Harry Potter book that I never finished until
Oh shit!
until now.
I forgot about that, Alex. Holy shit!
I fucking just like, because when I realized that I had never or that I was on the wrong episode. I feel this is a fate happening. When I was finishing this or reading this book back when the books were still coming out, I went to the midnight book premiere with Brooke, and I had it finished Order of the Phoenix because I could not deal with Harry and his emo bullshit. And when JK killed Sirius, I fucking rage quit. And she was just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna tell you the last couple hundred pages of this book, and then you can start reading Half-Blood Prince, I guess. So it has come full circle. My final journey,
That's
incredibly it was fate that I read or thought that I was going to be on for a different chapter. I read the chapter directly after Sirius's death through the end, and here we are, and my thoughts have not changed. This is still my least favorite Harry Potter book, and
yeah, boo!
I'm so glad it's over, and more importantly, I'm happy for you, Tina, and your mental health. This is over, and I'm gonna do something I'm gonna do a better job than Dumbledore ever did with Harry and beyond. Ask, babe, how you feeling? How are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah. How, where we at? Where we at?
Here's the thing. Order of the Phoenix is what I really needed to help me, truly not enjoy Harry Potter anymore. I feel like I'm on this character arc, and I think I'm gonna come back around and find a balance in the next two books. But I fucking hate this book with all my heart, and it makes me feel like I'm so powerful, because I would never let a book like this go into the world.
There's so much there was. You know? No, it's
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. You know when you're editing something, and the writer uses, there were doors all down the left corridor. All right, we don't necessarily need to know that unless those doors are important, but either way, are we gonna phrase it there were?
Yeah, what are they doing? Are they
there's
looming?
anything. No, there's anything. Anything is more interesting than there were.
There were.
Yeah, that's there were. There was. Avoid that at all costs. Quite frankly, it's
indeed free writing advice from Haley Simpkiss.
Yeah. I'm a font of knowledge.
Is that? Are we ready to move to plugs? Is that the end of Order of the Phoenix? Are we just gonna leave it behind? No, we're not, because we're gonna be back next week with the movie. And then we're going to be back next week with our group therapy episode. And then over the summer, and by summer I mean June, we're going to have some fun bonus episodes, a little bit of unlocked Patreon content, a little bit of maybe a collab with the other pods on the network. And then the Half-Blood Prince pregame episode will drop on July 12th.
Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you come back right before your birthday?
Because I like to work. And I like to make pod.
Work.
I like to work. I like to make pod. I'm fucking working on my next project, which I'm going to announce here on the restricted section in the next couple months, which I'm very excited about. More on that to come. All right, let's move into plugs. Alex, where can people listen to your dulcet tones on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm Alex, she, her, host or co-host of My Cabbages, an Avatar podcast. Just like Christina, we have just come to a pretty big milestone in our podcast. We just finished season 3 and the whole Avatar: The Last Airbender series, and we had the pleasure to have none other than the namesake of our podcast himself, Mr. James C., the Cabbage Man, for our last episode. So go check us out wherever you get podcasts for our last episode. We're going to be taking, just like Tina, a break over the summer. We're not overachievers like she is, and we're probably going to be taking a longer break than she will and coming back right in the early fall for Cora. So we're really excited for that. And you can go and check out our backlog too. You can find us on no longer on Twitter because fucking Long Must. And you can find us on Instagram at My Cabbage Cast, or by emailing us at Gmail, mycabbagecast@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon. And for my plug outside of my awesome podcast, I will say everyone should check out the new book that I just read that was my second favorite book of 2023 so far. It's called Master of Gin by P. Dejali Clark.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. You were talking about this one in book club, right?
Yes, I was, which is another perk. You should, if you join our Patreon or any of the...
For as little as $1 a month, you too can have access to the Deus Ex Media Network book club.
Yeah, and I am so jealous that I didn't do this for an actual Deus Ex Media book club, but it follows a super wonderful, mask lesbian protagonist who is a film noir, dresses in suits, and it's set in a 1912 alternative steampunk Cairo where the civilization or colonization of Egypt never happened. They kicked the fucking British out, and then there's djinn and demons and angels and magic, and this it's a film noir crime thing, and it's
Oh my god.
queer, and it's awesome. So please go check it out. And
what a wonderful description.
Yeah, it was my read for Arab American month, which was one of the many things that are celebrated in April. And
Nice.
It also has a short story called Dead Gin in Cairo, which if you buy, when I bought my copy at my local bookstore, it included the short story that's inspired the whole novel at the end. So
cool.
read that first, or if you're not sure about the book, if you're going to be into it, read the short story first, and that will it's the same main character and her love interest that saved the world. So yeah, if you're not sure, check that out and then read the full book. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Rick. I'm excited about that book. Haley, where can people find you on the internet?
Per Alex's note about Twitter, which I always hated, you can currently find me approximately nowhere. You can see old Instagram posts of mine if you want to search the Writ to Wit on there. But I don't like photography, and I'm not good at it. So I'm probably not going to be on there much.
That's okay, Haley.
Yeah. And for my plug, I'm going to once again recommend the Bruce Springsteen "Dancing in the Dark" music video. If you did not,
that's still open on my computer.
if you did not obey my command to go watch it earlier, I do highly recommend it. Monica from Friends does show up, but everything else about that music video, that was an actual show that he was playing, and he just had to do that song a couple of times, and no one in the audience knew that that girl was an actress who had been hired, so it was just magical. You can find these people in the comments talking about holy shit, I was there. So this is an actual concert, and that's the music video, and Bruce Springsteen's very 80s hot in it. And again, just take a moment to congratulate my mother for pulling a guy with that vibe in the 80s. I'm also going to quickly plug the Writers Guild of America strike, the writers in Hollywood. You can look this up and find resources to support the guild, their aims. You can donate to them, and in general find information about how not to cross that picket line. The last writers' strike gave us a lot of great steps for creative control and all of that, and now it's kind of evolving with the age of streaming.
Nice.
So if you've been sick of the way media's been going lately, you want to support these guys, trust me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Very welcome.
Tina, where can we find you on the internet?
Yeah. I've been yours, Christina. You know where to find me. You know my other podcast, How Do I Book? And this week, I'm going to plug two things because they both have ghosts in them. And I felt like that was appropriate for this chapter. Number one, TV show. It's called Ghosts.
Yes! Oh my god, I love this show.
I use Zach's login. It's the US version. I know there's a UK version.
Doesn't matter. The US version's better.
Sean and I have watched it, and we enjoy it quite a bit. It's like a workplace comedy if your work was being a ghost.
Or running an Airbnb.
Yeah.
God, both of those sound great. I want to be a ghost running a ghost Airbnb.
And then my second plug is Cozy Grove, which is a game I've played before, a game I've plugged before for fans of like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Disney Dreamlight Valley, etc. That kind of game. But you're like a little, like, fucking like Girl Scout type character on an island full of bear ghosts. And you're helping the bear ghosts like come back to the land and come to terms with their own mortality. It's like very cute and very deep at the same time.
I love this, and I'm not going to steal your show, but if people love Cozy Grove and are looking for another game in that similar vibe, you should play Spiritfarer. So,
ooh, okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's on Steam and also Switch, I believe, and it's
my Switch.
It's also about sparing like spirits on, but you like run kind of like a Airbnb for spirits, but you're on a ship and you travel to different places and like are helping.
That's what I want my life to be.
And you're like basically on this giant houseboat and you're helping these spirits like travel around the world and come to terms with like their past and helping them move on to the afterlife. It's great.
Sorry, I'm texting my sister about this right now. She loves bears so much.
Is it Emma?
Yes.
If she also loves bears, you should also play Bear and Breakfast, which is...
Bear and Breakfast, that's adorable.
It is a game where you play a bear and you run various, like, bed and breakfast in different settings in the world, and it is adorable.
Oh my god.
The reason that I have Cozy Grove on the brain, I gotta say, is because Michael Boothby just randomly texted me about it.
Aww.
We love you, Michael Boothby!
He's not listening. He's like, I'm playing Cozy Grove to unwind after a hard day of work. I love this game. I just asked a cute bear if he wanted a hug, and he said yes.
Aww.
With like a simping smiley face.
Why is every guy we know so fucking wholesome?
Yeah.
Because we've weeded out the weak ones. We've weeded out the douchebags.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right.
They're gone. They're
Good
all
job,
gone.
us.
It's taken me a long
We've
time. We've
curated these men well.
And I'll end by saying, like, when I said earlier that, like, Zach and I are two Aries, and when you bring Aries together, there's gonna be a pot that boils over eventually. But, like, in real life, Zach is definitely, like, was born on the 22nd, his birthday is on the 26th, but let's be real, I am, like, wholehearted Aries, and Zach is more so the Aries-Pisces cuff, because he's got that emotional, like, artist, like, sensitivity side that I feel like I need to tap in sometimes, and so I'll go and give him a hug.
You know what I say sometimes? I think the purest relationships between people are the ones between people who think that they have something to learn from one another.
Just like all of y'all, and I learn something new from you every day.
That's why I love all my friends so much.
Haley, that's why all your friends are friends with you. You're the smartest person in every room.
That's so true.
You know how I know you're telling the truth? Because you've never tried to force me to go out to competitive trivia. You just like me for my random facts for no good reason.
Your random facts are enough, Haley.
Aww.
You're good enough.
Aw.
Thanks, guys.
Would it be enough? Well, surely that's got to be the end of the episode.
I assumed this was going to be the fade out.
Oh my gosh, was this what you expected? If not, sorry, like, well, you're here anyways, so, joke's on you, bye!
I love you guys.
I love you too, man.
I love you.
I love you, Alex and Haley, and I love you, listeners. I swear to God, the next book will be more fun.
Peace and love, bye!
I'll end on one of those. That one has more endings than Return of the King.
We really Southern goodbye'd it.
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the Restricted section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod or in our Facebook group, the Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
Coffee, tea, honor, cabbage. Long ago, the four elements lived in harmony. Then, shit went totally cray when the Avatar attacked. Only the Cabbage Man, merchant of fine cruciferous vegetables, could stand against his trolling. But when the world needed some dank veg, he vanished. 10 years have passed, and my partner and I have started a new podcast.
My Cabbages! An Avatar podcast.
A weekly show about Avatar The Last Airbender. Whether it's Sokka's new line of cologne.
Hey, look at you, sitting there on a seal. Well, now look back at me. I'm on an even bigger seal. Now look away.
D&D related antics.
You have to make an acrobatics check for that. And Aang just like unzips his pants and whips out his D20s. He's just like, I got this.
Or randomly breaking into song.
Go bending waterfall.
We'll stumble our way through the greatest show ever made, one episode at a time.
Rotten cabbages? What kind of slum do you think this is?
Because I'm one of my favorite people, and one of you is one of my favorite people, and the other one, well, you guys can just fight for who gets to be my favorite people.
Deus Ex Media.